All right, let's dive into one of the most critical and honestly, most underestimated parts of Dynamics 365, getting your inventory set up right from day one. You know, a mistake here isn't just a small headache. It can literally lock your business into painful, expensive workarounds for years. But if you get it right, well, that's when you unlock a massive strategic advantage. So, let's break down exactly how to do that.
This question right here, from a real user on a community forum, is the perfect starting point. Her name's Dolly, and she has hit a wall, a really common wall. She made what probably felt like a tiny setup choice with her inventory dimensions. The problem is, transactions have already been posted, and now she's finding out that the simple fix she needs is anything but simple. This is a classic, and I mean classic, costly roadblock.
So, why? Why is this so incredibly hard? Why can't you just go in and flip a switch to change how an item is tracked? That's the big question we're going to answer today. And trust me, the reason is buried deep in the architecture of Dynamics 365, and understanding it is the absolute key to avoiding this trap yourself. Which brings us to our first point. This isn't just a mistake, it's a costly one. We're talking about the high-stakes world of your initial inventory setup. The choices you make before a single transaction gets posted, well, they have permanent consequences. I want you to think of it like pouring the concrete foundation for a skyscraper. Once that concrete sets, you can't just decide you want to move the main support columns. It's done.
And that right there is the point of no return. The second an item has any transaction history, a purchase, a sale, a simple transfer, anything, the system locks in its core dimension groups. You can't change them through standard methods. Not on the front end, not in the back end. Why? Because every single one of those transactions is fundamentally tied to that original setup.
Okay, so to avoid this whole disaster, we have to understand the building blocks. We need to decode what inventory dimensions actually are. You can think of them as the fundamental rules that tell the system how to track every single item you own.
Honestly, the best way to think about them is as the permanent DNA of an item. Just like real DNA, they define the core identity and the characteristics of that item from the second it's created. And you guessed it, just like DNA, you can't just go in and rewrite it once it's been established. Now, this DNA is split into two main categories. First up, you have the storage dimension group. This is all about the where. It defines the physical and logical places your inventory can be. Everything from a high-level site down to a specific warehouse and all the way down to a single bin location on a shelf.
The second category, that's the tracking dimension group. This defines the what and the who. This is all about traceability. We're talking specific batch numbers for food or medicine, unique serial numbers for electronics, or even the owner dimension, which is crucial if you're dealing with things like consignment inventory.
This table really lays it out nice and clear. On the left, you've got your storage dimensions, the where, things like site, warehouse, and location. And on the right, you've got the tracking dimensions, the what and who, like batch, serial, and owner. The big takeaway here is that you have to decide which of these are going to be active for an item before it has any history at all.
Now, how you use these dimensions is massively influenced by another huge decision you have to make, your warehousing approach. This choice directly impacts which dimensions are even available to you and how they behave. And you really have two main paths you can go down, basic or advanced warehousing.
And the trade-offs here are pretty stark. Basic warehousing is simple, it's quick to set up, perfect for smaller operations. But it's mostly manual and pretty limited in what it can do. Advanced warehousing, on the other hand, requires a much bigger upfront investment, but in return, it unlocks powerful automation, real-time control, and a whole suite of features built for complex supply chains.
So what do you actually get for that investment? I'm talking powerful tools like wave management to optimize picking, seamless mobile device integration for your warehouse crew, and deep, real-time visibility into every piece of stock you own. This is where things like advanced lot and serial tracking really come to life.
Okay, let's zoom in even further. Inside these dimension groups, there are a few specific settings that can completely change how your system works. See, it's not just about turning a dimension on or off, it's about configuring how it behaves.
Let's take inventory status, for example. This is a storage dimension that lets you classify your stock. Is it ready and available for sale? Is it damaged? Maybe it's blocked for a quality inspection. By using this one dimension, you can physically prevent blocked inventory from ever being picked for a sales order. That is a seriously powerful quality control tool right there.
Here's another critical one, the primary stocking setting.
It's just a little checkbox. But when you enable it for a dimension like warehouse, it makes it mandatory for every physical transaction. And even more importantly, it totally changes how inventory reservations work, forcing the system to reserve items only within that specific warehouse. It is a tiny checkbox with a massive, massive impact on your entire fulfillment process.
So let's circle all the way back to Dolly's problem. What's the official fix? Well, it's painful. It is a multi-step nightmare. You have to count every single piece of on-hand inventory for that item to 0. You have to make sure it's not on any open orders, any journals, any BOMs. Then you have to run a full inventory close. And only then, if you set your session date to be after that close, can you maybe make the change. It is a huge operational disruption.
And this, right here, is why we have to elevate this conversation. We have got to move from thinking about these things as just technical setup tasks and start seeing them for what they really are, a core part of your business strategy.
So look, if you only remember one thing from all of this, please let it be this. Your inventory dimension setup is not an IT task. It is a foundational business architecture decision. It dictates what you can do, what you can't do, how efficient you can be, and how well you can respond when things go wrong.
And this is exactly where that strategy meets the setup. It's a simple if-then game. If your business absolutely needs full product traceability for recalls, then you must enable batch and serial dimensions from day one, no question. If you handle consignment stock, that owner dimension is completely non-negotiable. You see? The technical setting is what directly enables the business capability. And when you get this right from the start, the payoffs are huge. I mean, you're strengthening your recall process. You're going to breeze through audits. You're making your warehouse way more efficient, and you're unlocking the data you need for real business intelligence. You're not just tracking boxes anymore. You are building a strategic asset for your company.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Take a good, hard look at your own systems and your own processes. Is your inventory setup being treated like just another technical task on some project manager's checklist? Or is it being given the strategic weight it truly deserves as a cornerstone of your entire business operation? Because the answer to that question, that could define your success for years to come.